Welcome back to the second part of Liderazgo Appreciativo, Appreciative Leadership. My name is Joep C, and for those of you who have not seen part one, I'm a former executive. I'm a member of the IDEA Council, and after I retired as an executive in 2013, I started studying again the phenomena of appreciative leadership, and I'm currently working on my PhD in Search of the Soul for the Appreciative Leader, for which I've been making a series of black and white portraits that some of you may have seen, and if not, just let us know and we'll be happy to share them with you. As feedback on the first series, I got the remark that there is only a small image of me in the bottom corner, and some of you wanted to see who it is that is talking, and hence my second picture, my second slide, where you can see me a little bit more in a bigger format. So without further ado, I will enter with the second part. And as mentioned at the end of the first part, there was already the slide. I wanted to look at what is called the internal clock and the external clock. And what you see here is an image that describes the speed of change over, you might say, thousands of years. So if you wish, you could say that the left hand is starting maybe millions, if not a couple of billions years ago, and change in our world has been, you could say, slow and fairly steady until around the year 1800, when what happened was, and I guess I'm enlarging here this part, what was happening was that we invented the steam engine. It was invented. And it produced a really completely different way of perceiving the world. It started to change our thinking in a dramatical way, I should say. And what happened, everything started to speed up, whether it was our transportation, although the first trains were still not so very fast, but we got our cars, we got our airplanes, and in time we are still seeing this acceleration in change. I must apologize for the arrow on the left-hand side, by the way, where it shows that the arrow is pointing down, but of course it should point upwards. What is happening, and now I'm trying to combine the things that we did in the first part as well, is that speed and the acceleration of change is connected to the value chain of leadership, and it is also, if you look at this part, changing the way we look at our business from a single bottom line, which was the story, and it still is part of the story. In, let's say, the last century, with its really raising to great heights, up to today, look at how we value our companies. When you look at stock prices, you see only the single bottom line, how well they do financially. But more and more attention is being paid, and you can see that in lots of articles and lots of organizations that are looking at that and thinking about a triple bottom line. So we're looking at not only profit, but we're looking at people and planet. And my experience actually is that this triple bottom line, it starts to make a difference on how is the order of that. So if you start to put people and planet first, and maybe even around planet and people first, that will lead, if you do that well, to good results. And then even further, as it is emerging now, is what happens if we really get a holistic look on our business. What is happening? And we talked yesterday about this, the data, the information, the knowledge, the experience, the wisdom, and the spirituality or wholeness. And I guess the acceleration is requiring us to be more aware of our experience, the wisdom to handle that, and the elements of spirituality. And then there is the bottom line that's going down. That's the internal clock, as I've called this. And this is what is needed, in my view, from an appreciative leadership perspective, in order to balance this acceleration outside. We can only keep up with the changes if we manage to slow down. And here is where you see this bottom line, where it's the head and the discussion, and we are still in the middle of the period that is giving more importance to the heart, the corazón, and the dialogo. But I think that we're even going to face a more deeper insight in ourselves, as said, requiring the wisdom and the spirituality in our leadership, bringing that to our leadership. And it's the attention for our souls and the intention for what silence means. And I guess one of my fascinations with appreciative inquiry is that it helps us to slow down, because we really will have to learn to slow down. It's like a lot of the work that Miriam has been doing with her meditation courses, her retreats. So one of the many things that IDEA is offering as well, is helping us to slow down. And appreciative inquiry in the way of our storytelling is one of those as well. There is one other piece of information that I would like to add here, and that is the values. When you look at this triple bottom line, and maybe even towards the holistic view, the quadruple bottom line, where it is about our purpose, adding our purpose. And what you see is that over this period that I've started to mention earlier on, starting 1800, for the first 100 years, from about 1800 till about the year 1900, one of the key values in Western Europe was the establishing of institutes that had to do with justice, what is right from a societal point of view, using scriptures, using rules and regulations. And it was really providing a lot of those rules and regulations. A lot of our, you could say, laws as we have them today were established in these 1800s. But then with the rise of the production, the mass production, which was enabled by the steam as well, as said, the steam engine, the invention of the steam engine, something else happened. We did get more attention to us as human beings. So who were we? It was the rise of people like Freud and Jong starting to investigate who we are. Also bringing to the table, if you fit that in this justice frame, what is right and what is wrong. And we started to look at blame and shame and personal results, like in our schools, like in companies. And if you failed to meet those objectives, then you were a failure in general. And we see that the end of that is nearing as well. It's the orange part, it's the orange line that we're starting to look. Now we're entering this space of wisdom and spirituality. We're starting to look at the more feminine values. And I guess as an appreciative leader, as mentioned before, it is trying to understand that you need to understand this process, these different generations that look at the workplace from a different perspective. And you could actually say that look at life from a different perspective. And understanding the importance of these feminine elements right next to the masculine is important for how we want to lead our organizations if we want to do that well. And I think it brings in values like care, like respect, like trust and honesty, and then trust not only from a professional perspective, because you can trust somebody also for his facts, his knowledge of the facts, like with the data and the information and the knowledge. But here it is more about the values that deal with trust at a much more personal level, at care and at respect at a much more personal level, as said. So to me, here in this image, a lot of things come together. But the key message is that they all should lead to a better understanding of the complex situation we're in, and the increase of speed is also leading to a more and more complex situation as we need to deal with things quicker. That's what the sharper curve, upwards curve, and the downward curves are leading to. So we need to do more in order to stay in balance. It's requiring an active role of the leaders in organizations. And I think that somebody, a leader, whether it's at a personal level or at a organizational and company level, that those who understand this complexity and manage to work and pay attention to this balance are what I call the appreciative leaders. So there is maybe even more to say, but in sake of the time, I would like to show a few other slides. And in case you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out to us. Because looking at those complex pictures, both in Webinar 1 and Webinar 2, it requires to work in a certain way. And this slide is identifying with the work of a great friend of mine, Frank Barrett, who uses Jess as the metaphor for appreciative leadership. He says that in a way you have to understand the image that I just showed, but you also have to understand that it is an improvisation. No one, not me, not you, knows exactly what the next moment will bring, and working in any situation, in any place in this world, really requires a lot of improvisation. So I guess it is saying, as it says at the top of this slide, it's saying yes to the mess, DC al chaos. And the most important things are that you learn to live with the mistakes that we make. Nobody is perfect, and it is really learning about those. Constant learning together. That is, together we can, if we create a safe environment, which I think an appreciative leader should do, if we create a safe environment, we can learn together from whatever is happening. It's also fitting with, you have learned by now, the social constructionist principle that everything what is there and can be used for learning and growth. So it's to, as said, to improvise, to know when to play your role, to take the role, but also when to hand it off to somebody else. And it is therefore the space where you talk about the collective. The appreciative leader understands that his leadership is about relational being, which we all are. And you use the collective intelligence of a group, of an organization, of a team. It is not the individual that who is, as a unique person, the only hero in a group. No, it is the team that makes the difference. And yes, of course, we each play our role. So we still have heroes, but we're in a way all heroes. Then improvisation, as said, is the key. And improvisation sounds so easy, but it is thinking about how you can learn from each other, from yourself, from playing with the dimensions of sometimes being in your head, sometimes listening to your heart, and sometimes trying to be in the space where you listen to the silence and discover what there is. It is embracing the errors, and it is also, as it says here, to embrace, to understand that you try to work from minimal structures, which may be in a way conflicting with the earlier models that I shared with you, because they may at times not always be so simple. But if I break them down, in essence, they may be. It is about the value chain, adding value to each of the steps, and there are only a limited number of steps. And I guess the essence of what we did today and talking about the external and internal clock is that we have to learn to slow down. To slow down. And then learning to each play our roles in the teams from a relational perspective. And if we do that well, and we adhere to these simple and basic structures, I think we will be able to manage our organizations like good parents manage their family. And in my view, that is what there is a strong link, I should say, with appreciative leadership. I want to end with 2 slides. Indagación apreciativa. It is a process, a positive process of change, and it's helping organizations and communities to become the best they are. I guess that is the essence, and it was therefore that I love to have another painting of Miriam behind it. It's bringing the colorful out forward in all of us. And the 3 elements that play a key role in that, it's the 3 circles that you have seen before as well. That it's the elevación de las fuerzas. It's the concentración y ampliación de las fuerzas. And it's the refracción de las fuerzas y impacto en la sociedad. So it's about our strength. And as the arrow points towards the center, that is where you see indagación apreciativa. And this is where you lead from the appreciative way, in which we sometimes call appreciative leadership. I thank you for your attention. And as said, if you have any questions about what we shared, what I shared, feel free to contact us. We will be happy to be of any kind of assistance. Have a wonderful day and take care.